Serious, what is the fastest way you have seen someone ruin their life? From r/AskReddit. Part 4. My cousin fell for one of those to catch a predator-style police stings. The day of the sting he posted something on his Facebook about going to have a great night. I even responded saying, "Awesome man, have fun." Well, that night he tried to meet a 14-year-old girl for S*X and found a bunch of cops instead. Was charged with multiple felonies, got kicked out of his Ph.D. program, lost his job, lost his wife, killed himself 2 months later. He was 28 years old and had everything going for him. Great job, crazy book smarts, a bright future with his family. Singapore here. One Chinese lady ranted on Facebook about a nearby Malay wedding in a public space. According to her, divorce rates among Malay couples are high due to weddings which cost, according to her, only 50 SGD, $30. She posted that rant on a Sunday afternoon. The backlash against her was fast and furious. By Monday morning, 4 government ministers, including our Prime Minister, had spoken out against her. She was out of her cushy directorial position at a major government agency by lunchtime Monday. We take racial harmony in Singapore very, very seriously. Choosing the wrong partner. A friend of mine married his love and they had a dogther. But soon that woman found someone better, so she accused him of a variety of things ranging from beating her to sexually assault. Of course the new guy backed that up. So yeah, he lost his job, his house, his dogther, and his wife, even though this seems to be better for him in the end. A lot of his friends abandoned him too, but I know him long enough to know that he would never do that, and she made that up. She didn't have any proof other than the new guy stating that he saw it. Because of this the judge didn't plead him guilty but said he couldn't visit his dogther till she turns 18 as a precautionary measure. This didn't matter to other people though, because they heard something about him beating his wife, so it must be true. Or so, I don't know. 2 of my high school friends went to a strip club during the pandemic. Refused to wear a face mask, so eventually they got kicked out. They were drunk, got mad and shot at the strip club with an AK-47. 18 and 19 years old. Nobody died, but some people got hurt at it. The 18-year-old just had a baby at the time of the shooting. His GF couldn't even grasp the idea of him at a strip club while she was taking care of the newborn. My ex decided to touch himself in Tej library of a community college and got caught. The school kicked him out, and then he decided to start sneaking around and smoking pot instead of trying to get a job. He now has several thousand in loans to pay back, 2 inappropriate conduct charges, and thinks all women hate him because he self-diagnosed himself with DID. A friend of mine drove his bike without helmet, had the helmet, didn't bother to wear it. It was late at night, we were having a party at my home and he was coming to join us. It had rained earlier so the roads were wet, his motorbike unfortunately slipped and he fell, hitting his head on the curb. Some passerby called the ambulance. We got to know about it early in the morning from his parents. His head trauma caused him to go into a coma. He never came back from it. He was in a coma for a few months and then sadly passed away. He was a chill dude, if only he wore the helmet while driving. Rest easy D. Edit, he was an avid biker, drove his bike across the country all the way to the Himalayas. He used to wear helmet all the time except for that fateful night. I was having a party at my home, you know, barbecue/beer/whiskey and all that. He was gonna join us after work. He had the helmet on him even that day. I will never know why he decided to not wear it that day. A guy from the general area I lived in. Him, 18 at the time, and girl broke up, ended up kidnapping her 3 weeks later and shooting her twice in the head with a handgun he took of his parents' gun safe. Tried driving 5 hours away to his grandparents' ranch to hide the body. Ditched his phone driving down the highway. SWAT team was waiting for him when he showed up at said ranch. Made news headlines in co. Edit, reread news article about it and it was actually 3 gunshots. About 16 years ago, the company I worked for wanted to expand into America. To do so they sent me and several of my co-workers abroad. We lived in the US for several years to set it up. When we were there, one of my co-workers became fascinated with, I guess what you'd US gangster culture. He started dressing like a stereotypical gangster, got tattoos, said the N-word with a hard R constantly. And even got a gun from who knows there. So it was a nice night, about 3 weeks before we were due to go back. We had set up chairs in a park to drink beers and were pretty buzzed. Suddenly some dude starts shouting at us from a distance, and my friend, with all his logical thinking, concluded that it must be a threat. So he pulled out his gun and opened fire. That guy was a cop. The policeman understandably returned fire. The rest of us dived to the ground and my friend is hit twice. One in his shoulder and one in his leg. It turns out that there had been some kidnapping nearby by some people that matched our general appearance. Which was why the cops started out hostile. I didn't blame him, and it was both his and his partner's testimonies that protected us from any legal trouble. The next few weeks were a blur, but I remember him still being hospitalized when I flew back home. I don't actually know what happened to him after that. My boss told me he's still alive but he got fired obviously, but I never saw him again. 2 guys got into an argument at an old job I had. One of them was clearly the provocateur and a bit of a D*head. But the other snapped and they started pushing and shoving and that second guy punched him. He got fired as a result. He was otherwise a pretty mild guy. I wouldn't say it wrecked his life, but he had a good job and it's a industry where it definitely affected his reputation. Felt kind of bad for him. The provocateur guy got writ up, he didn't lose his job. But he did get bad performance reviews etc. And eventually left, but his reputation didn't suffer as much as the first guy. Moral of the story? If you want to punch a colleague, do it after work and not in the office. Miranda sings apology video. A former friend of mine got caught sexually assaulting a 9-year-old. I'd say that takes the cake. This is very recent, so while it hasn't gone to court he's still in jail as the judge denied bail. By smoking K2. Dude I worked with came back after a weekend and told everyone he had tried meth. And he liked it. Like a month later he came into my workspace and asked for a pair of pliers. I gave them to him and he pulled a tooth right there in front of me like it was nothing. He quit shortly after, not sure what happened to him, he was very young. Like 20 maybe. Lockdown 2020. Friend got the fatty stimulus payments, was a red cap. Dude had never seen money like that in his life. Thought COVID was fake. Moved to NOLA, drank himself to pancreatitis and got COVID, died before Christmas. Took him less than 9 months. Was barely 35 years old. Edit. Lotta questions. It's a shame, he was a red cap with a lot of money dumped on him by government incompetence with a crazy PPE loan. No. Not $1,200, they sh*t tens of thousands on this guy, not any education past HS. Fell into the Q hole, thought he knew better than everyone saying stay home and wear a mask and had a drinking and whoring problem in NOLA and lost all the marbles he had left and it killed him. A former friend I knew lost a good job by stealing from it and sold everything he stole for drugs. Just last week he got in trouble for pedophilia by soliciting a minor and other sh*t. A few high school classmates. Dan, not his name, just started hanging out with bad peers. One weekend, the guys decided to hang out at Dan's house. They ordered pizza and told Dan to get change for $100. They left Dan's house to get drinks. Pizza arrives and while exchanging the order with Dan, the other guys run out from the bushes. They start beating up the delivery driver. Dan didn't know they were going to do that and tried to stop them. Yet, none of them knew the driver was legally carrying. Dan got shot and died OTW to the hospital. The other guys got arrested and spent 3+ years in jail. They were supposed to graduate in 2 months. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you enjoyed. Keep the thread going in the comments section down below.